how to visit Maelifell volcano? That's the question of today's video. Have you seen this picture from Iceland? This is Maelifell, the green volcano in the black Icelandic desert in the southern highlands of Iceland. Did you know that this is not the only Maelifell in Iceland? There are about 20 of them. Maelifell means measuring mountain, and Icelanders are not very original in naming their mountains, so this means that yes, there are many Maelifell in Iceland. If you ask a local, how can I get to Maelifell? He will typically reply, which Maelifell? But he most likely knows you mean just this one most famous Maelifell. So how do you get to Maelifell? You have two options, either drive to Maelifell yourself or take a private super jeep tour. There are no buses or no bigger group tours. So let's say you decide to drive to Maelifell yourself. First of all, it is not easy to get to Maelifell. This is not a trip for beginners. You need to drive a big four-wheel drive car and you need to cross the unpredictable rivers on your way. Maelifell is hidden deep in the southern highlands of Iceland, and to reach it you need to take the difficult highland roads, which are also called the F-roads. For all of this you have to prepare in advance. So how do you prepare for a trip like this? Firstly, watch road videos and read blog posts to know what to expect. Secondly, rent a proper car, Land Cruiser, Hilux or a super jeep. Thirdly, practice on easier roads first. Fourthly, ideally go with more than just one car, don't go alone, take a company. Fifthly, go only when weather is good and the roads are open for tourists. Sixthly, check road conditions and weather conditions on road.is, trafficinfo.is and en.weather.is in advance. Seventhly, make sure your car rental company allows you to go to these roads. So finally, how to get to Maelifell? You have three options. From the west, this is the most scenic route. From the south, this is the easiest route. Or from the east, this route contains the biggest river crossing. Let's now take a closer look at each of these options. You can reach Maelifell from the west by either road F210 only or by a combination of the roads F261 and F210. Both of these roads are incredibly scenic and rough highland roads. You have to cross the medium-sized rivers on both. My favorite option is to take the F-road F210 from the west only. It's one of the most beautiful roads in Iceland. Views on a nice day are simply amazing. You will have to cross several small to medium rivers on F210 though. Moreover, you will also drive in a riverbank for about 100 meters or yards. This is a once-in-a-lifetime experience if you do it correctly and if you don't damage your car. The biggest river crossing is located near the crossroads with F261 and the river is called Kaldaklovskvísl. There are no more river crossings after Kaldaklovskvísl, but the road gets rougher and rougher. You will, for example, encounter huge volcanic boulders that require high ground clearance and very careful driving. To pass F210 safely, you need to drive at least a Toyota Land Cruiser, Toyota Hilux or a Jeep Wrangler. The best option is to drive a super jeep. Super jeep is a modified vehicle with big tires and a snorkel. Some examples include Land Rover Defender, Land Rover Super Defender or a modified Land Cruiser. You can rent all of these in Iceland. Check out our article on how to rent a super jeep in Iceland in the description below the video. The second option from the west is to use the combination of the roads F261 and F210. F261 is a bumpy road with one medium-sized river crossing in the end. The river is called Blafjallakvísl and requires just about the same cars to pass as F210. F261 is also beautiful and worth the drive. F232 from the south is the easiest road. It is the least bumpy road and there is just one medium-sized river crossing, or better said, a waterfall crossing. There are huge stones at the bottom of the river and the crossing is very bumpy, so be prepared for that. This one particular spot, the waterfall crossing of Blafjallafoss waterfall, is great for drone lovers and it's very picturesque. Other than that, there's nothing super highly interesting along the road, just one more cute waterfall called Holmsarfoss. To pass F232, we again recommend ideally a Land Cruiser or something bigger. On a dry day, you may be able to pass with Dacia Duster, Suzuki Jimny, Nissan Qashqai or something similar, but you need to drive well without mistakes. There will be no room for error. To be sure to not damage your car, it's better to rent something bigger. The final option is to take F210 from the east. Eastern F210 is not difficult, but there is one major obstacle on the road. Big river crossing of Holmsarida. The river crossing is located east of Maelifell, right next to Rodibotn craters area. To pass this fort safely, it's best to drive a super jeep. On a dry day you may be able to pass with Land Cruiser or Hilux or something similar, but please never ever cross Holmesa in a Duster, Jimny or anything similar. This is simply dangerous and irresponsible. In short, you can visit Maelifell only in summer and only when the roads going to Maelifell are open. The roads to Maelifell typically open in the beginning of July and usually become impassable around mid-September. Always check this upfront on road.is or trafficinfo.is. This is basically the same website of Icelandic Road Administration. Be sure to drive to Maelifell only if the road is marked green on this website or dashed green. Because there is snow or mud on the roads, you would either get stuck or you would damage the fragile soil. Yes, you can, but, a huge but, this is a very hard hike on an unmarked trail. It's very steep and only for highly experienced hikers. Our two favorite hidden gems near Maelifell are Rodibotn craters and Struclaug hot spring. Rodibotn craters are an out-of-this-world secluded area full of waterfalls, rivers and craters. Beware though, to reach Rodibotn from Maelifell you must cross the bigger Holmesa river. Or you need to go all the way back to the ring road and access Rodibotn from the south by F210. You can read more about our Rodibotn experience in the link in the description of this video. Struclaug is most likely the least visited hot spring in Iceland. This is a truly wild hot spot, unlike many other touristy ones in Iceland. To reach Struclaug you have to cross one medium-sized river but several times and then hike for about 1.5 hours. You can read more about our Struclaug experience again in the link below the video in the description. There is no hotel or hostel anywhere nearby. These are the Highlands. Only mountain huts with sleeping bag accommodation. The closest ones are Strutur hut, Altavatn hut, Altavötn hut and Emstrurbotnar hut. Long story short, we don't recommend it. It's theoretically possible on a nice and dry day, but you need to drive the easiest route, F232 from the south. You need to drive it well and you're still risking damaging your car. Well, generally, no. Only if you already have experience in the Highlands, if you've been there before, otherwise not. It takes roughly 2 hours to reach Maelifell from the town of Wick and roughly 2.5 hours from Hella. If you want to see just Maelifell and nothing else, the round trip will take you around 6 hours. Unfortunately, not really, but this depends on the kind of fog, on the persistence of the fog, how heavy the fog is, and so on. All of this is unpredictable in advance, so I guess you just have to take your chances. I'm Igor from epiciceland.net. I've spent months in Iceland over several years exploring mainly highlands and F-roads and places away from the crowds, and I'm happy to share all I know about Iceland with you. Please, if you like this video, be sure to smash the like button below the video so that I know I should produce more videos like this.